The 16th generation, Maharaja Rigbuddha. When the new king of the country with capital Bhojkat-Darawar and the protector of the Lodh Vansh Gotra, Maharaja Rigbuddha, ascended the throne, he was not even a proper adult. But he easily won over the hearts of all his subjects by his sharp wisdom, bravery, and powerful body. He attained complete efficiency in administration. He was married to a very religious, truthful, scholarly, attractive, and pativrata, faithful wife, Maharani Sudesh. Her word never went unfulfilled. Maharaja Rigbuddha could never stand any suffering or hardship of any of his subjects. The administration was run according to the instructions of the sages. About his marriage, it is said that once Raja Rigbuddha was in his court. The porter informed about the arrival of some great sage. The king at once got up from his throne and rushed barefooted to welcome the Atithi, unscheduled guest, at the gate. He offered pranam in a Sashtang prostrate position and brought him respectfully to his darbar. All the courtiers stood up to welcome the sage. With cheers and sound of conches, showered flowers on him, and the king seated him on his throne. The king himself sat at his feet on the carpet. He was served with food, and then the king ordered jewels to be presented to him on a gold plate. But the sage refused to accept his valuable gift. He said to the king, the treasure should either be in the palace or the treasury of kings, or be utilized for public welfare. Saints and sages expect due honor and respect only, and that I have received to the full. I am very much pleased with you. I am anxious to know the name of your parent and of your guru. Raja Rigbuddha told the names of his parents but was silent about his guru. The sage understood the significance of his silence and himself spoke. O king, your darbar is visited by many holy persons, but you bid them farewell, after only honoring and entertaining them. With conclusion of such visits, the temporary relations established are snapped, but I have accepted food at your palace, and as such a spiritual relationship has been established. I am also very much satisfied with your behavior and feelings of reverence and regard. The king was overwhelmed with emotions and burst out, Maharaj, you yourself accept me as your disciple. Your personality and words have highly impressed me. When the king said these words, the sage looked at his forehead for a while, steadfastly, and then he expressed his permission to accept him as his disciple. At once the king called for Gangajal, holy water, dhoop, incense, deep earthen lamp, ghee, butter, rice, turmeric, and other necessary articles for worship for initiation ceremony. With chanting of Vedic mantras and Gayatri part, the king stepped to anoint the forehead of the sage with turmeric and to accept him as his guru ceremoniously. But the sage stopped him short and said in a firm tone, O king, no, not like that. Cut your thumb of your right hand with a knife and anoint my forehead with your blood. The king followed the sage's order. The latter was satisfied, and giving Guru Mantra to King Rigbuddha, he took leave from the palace. The king had cut his thumb with great enthusiasm. It was giving pain, so the royal physician came and dressed it. In the evening, the king went riding on a stroll toward the forests. It was the month of Falgun, March, April. New sprouts were blossoming on the trees. The bunches of wildflowers hanging from the forest trees presented a sight worth seeing to believe. The king was so fascinated with the beauty and he forgot to return, went on proceeding farther and farther. At a substantial distance, the scene transformed into an impenetrable dense forest. When the king turned, only thick trees were visible. No end was discernible. The evening was drawing near. There were already signs of an impending storm. The thickness of the forest made it even darker. Trying to return, the king lost his way and spurred the horse in just opposite direction. When all seemed to be lost and unknown, all of a sudden the king heard, even in the thick of this unpenetrable forest, the sounds of drum beating and conch. The king took the direction of these sounds. He had not come anywhere near his goal when he heard the sound of horses galloping towards him from all sides. Before the king could decide and take out his sword, he was surrounded on all sides by dozens of cavalrymen with naked swords, spears, and tridents in their hands. The king replied to this to his the king demanded fearlessly, "Who are you? And why have you thus surrounded me?" The outlaws did not reply to his question. On the other hand, they said, "Follow us quietly, otherwise you will invite your death." The king was stunned. Helplessly, he followed them into thicker and thicker forest. But ahead was a beautiful temple with inscription Kalka Devi Mandir. It was brilliantly illuminated, but the people worship, performing arti, worship, had horrible appearances. Inside, even a more horrible human form was putting ghee, wood chips, and other provisions of sacrifice into a fire ravaging high. The horsemen led the king in front of this priest of demon worship. For a few moments, there was a ghastly silence, just as the king was forcibly alighted and pushed forward to be presented to this architect of devilry. He was highly pleased and spoke to the leader. "Seth, now your desire will be fulfilled for the sacrifice at the altar of Mahakali. You have brought the right sort of handsome young man we were all searching for, so get ready." On a sign from the demon Mahant priest, the king stood mechanically on a silver choki dais. He understood well that he had fallen into the hands of manslaughterers who wanted to please their goddess by sacrificing him. Realizing that human aid for rescue was impossible, he remembered his Gurudev, Sri Shraddhanand. All of a sudden, the devil priest got a brainwave. His eyes fell on the dressed thumb of the king. He shouted, "Seth, your adventure has miscarried. The young man is handsome, no doubt, but the thumb of his hand is wounded. Our goddess does not accept a truncated sacrifice. So set him free and find some other substitute for him." Thus, Rigbuddha was pulled down from the silver altar and set free. At once, the mystery of Gurudev Shraddhanand's insistence to have the blood of his thumb for anointing him dawned upon the king. He pondered what a foresight Gurudev had. Had he not insisted on getting his thumb's blood, he would have died an unknown unscheduled death. Before returning, he inquired from the Mahant the purpose of this human sacrifice. He came to know that the Seth was a wholesale trader, importer, exporter of diamonds and other precious stones. His fleet of ships was lost somewhere on the high seas. Somebody had suggested to him that if he could offer a human sacrifice at Kalka Devi Mandir, the goddess would be pleased to rescue his ships and guide them to return home safely. It being the dead of night, the king had to stay over. He met the trader and said, "Seth, it is not necessary for you to sacrifice a human being at the altar of Devi to bring your fleet of ships home, safe and sound. Then what is the other way? I'm not so particular about this sacrifice. What I want is the safe return of my fleet." The king performed the puja of his Gurudev and prayed to him to help the Seth's fleet to return safely. And lo, in the morning, a messenger burst with all speed into the temple and gave the news, "Seth, thank God, your fleet has returned to the harbor. You should worry no longer." Listening these words, the Seth embraced the king and begged to be excused for his conspiracy. When he later came to know that his victim was King Rigbuddha, the ruler of the ruler of Bhojkat-Darawar, he fell at his feet. He disclosed with embarrassment, "O king, I am also a Seth of Kundanpuri. When your ancestors relinquished Kundanpuri as the seat of the capital of their kingdom and shifted it to the new city of Bhojkat-Darawar, our foreign trade collapsed. That is why we left the deserted capital to settle elsewhere for trade." In the end, being very much attracted by the youthful king, the Seth offered the hand of his only daughter, Sudesh, to the king. The marriage was later duly performed with great pomp and show, as well as countrywide rejoicings. The Seth gave crores of gold coins and innumerable valuables as wedding present to his daughter. Once the king requested Gurudev Shraddhanand to relate to him the story of the great charity of King Bali. Mahayogeshwar Gurudev related the following history. O king, when the fame of the devotion, sacrifice and charity of Raja Bali began to transcend the land, sea and the sky, Bhagwan Vishnu, God the Preserver, himself descended on the earth in the manifestation of Vaman, dwarf. Shankaracharya, the guru of Raja Bali, was also present at the spot. So warning the king, he said, "O king, today the Almighty Vishnu himself is coming to test you. Do not promise to give him land in charity." Raja Bali replied, "O Gurudev, you are misleading me by asking me to act against my dharma duty. Gurudev, it is my great good fortune that Bhagwan Vishnu himself will be coming at our door to ask for charity. I am not prepared to accept your advice." This dialogue between the Guru and disciple was just going on when Vishnu Bhagwan arrived. The king gave him great honor and a rousing welcome. He seated him on his throne and humbly asked with folded hands, "O Lord, order, what have I to do for you?" The dwarf-shaped Vishnu Bhagwan said, "O king, give me only three paces and a half of land in charity." Highly elated, Raja Bali said most politely, "O merciful Lord, you yourself measure the land you want. So lo, the Lord in his 3 paces measured the entire land, sea and sky, and then called forth to the king to fulfill the sankalp, religious promise. Raja Bali lifted a karva, jug with a nozzle, to perform the ceremony of sankalp. Shukracharya, by the power of his yog, entered the nozzle and stopped the flow of water. As soon as the Raja inserted a straw to clear the way, one eye of Shankaracharya was pierced and he burst out and made way as fast as he could. Wherefrom should the Raja get half a pace measure of land? He was in a great dilemma. As he sat quietly and said, somebody informed Raja Bali's mother that because of acting against the advice of his guru, the king had been duped by Bhagwan Vishnu. The queen mother at once reached the spot and covering her face with her veil said, "O son Bali, today I do not want to see your face, because you have neither held the honor of your dynasty nor of my milk. You have also not followed the advice of Gurudev. Now fulfill your promise. And O Vishnu, nor do I desire to see your face, because you did not demand a charity according to capacity. You have not left space on the earth for people to walk about." On hearing these words, Bhagwan Vishnu himself was upset and standing up, submitted with folded hands. "O mother, I had begged for charity only." The mother queen reprimanded his son again and said to Vaman, "Now you place your foot on my back and measure your half pace." With these words, she meditated upon her Gurudev and lay between the earth and sky. Vishnu Bhagwan begged pardon with folded hands and added, "O Queen Mother, I have found you as you were reputed. You people have been perfectly successful in the test. May you be blessed." And lo, the divine nature expressed herself in her glorious beauty. Bhagwan Vishnu appeared in his real form in four-handed posture. He held his Shankh, Chakra, Gada, Padma, the symbols of the Creator, Preserver, Destroyer, God. Rain showered on the entire kingdom. The lightning flashed. Thunder roared. The wind stopped flowing. The sun, the moon, and the stars stopped their movements. The earth began to shake. The flow of the rivers stopped. The birds and animals danced with joy. Mother Saraswati, the goddess of knowledge, also appeared to see this enchanting scene. What a miracle! It was all the result of King Bali, his family tradition, his mode of ethical conduct, devotion to God, tapasya, austerity, and the accumulated influence of his innumerable births. Bhagwan Vishnu again requested the mother queen for pardon and asked for her any boon she wanted. And do you know what the Queen Mother said? ऐसे कहा जो प्रभु हरि भये, हमारे द्वार पसार भैया, पूरब से गंग पछाह बहे, पर मंगता से कुछ मंगत नैया. That is, one who comes in the form of beggar at our door, what should we beg of him? Even if Ganga Ganges begins to flow with westward instead of eastward, we cannot beg from a beggar. You, O Lord, are a beggar at present. What can you give us? As Vishnu Bhagwan heard these words from the Queen Mother, he was stunned. His lips began to quiver. The grip on the Gada loosened. All the holds weakened. Even God himself felt his situation upset. He rushed to the Queen and said, O Queen, your husband and the Queen Mother do not want to ask any boon from me, so you can ask whatever you like. The Queen at this said, O Lord, who is giver of charity? Whose is the kingdom? It seems that the wisdom of my mother-in-law has been eclipsed by somebody. O Lord, nobody has brought this throne or prosperity with himself, nor would anyone take it back with himself. O all-present, all-powerful, all-knowing Supreme God, we all the members of our family had you darshan, vision. We have achieved all. Even many of your generations will attain salvation and go to Vaikunt, heaven, without strain. O Lord, you are the giver, you are the receiver. It is all your Leela, spiritual play. Hearing such words of deep devotion, Vishnu Bhagwan went away from there and disappeared. With such stories and the concluding spiritual discourses, Kulguru Shraddhanand so purified the heart of King Rigbuddha and so strengthened his spiritual foundation that neither any woman's passion nor any power on earth could divert him from his path. All homage to the great Guru, Maharshi Shraddhanand, who with such noble teachings made his human life so godly. All homage to your respected mother, who after giving birth to you, made you a most powerful, most courageous, and a most charitable king, and then a most efficient servant of your people. Actually, the choicest place in heaven are permanently reserved for such persons like you, King Rigbuddha. O King, when Bhagwan Vishnu took his leave from the family of King Bali, the latter said with folded hands, O Lord, I have only one request to make to you. There should be one day every year in my kingdom when every living being should be happy and free from all sorts of tensions. Bhagwan said, Tathastu, be it so. Since then, there is one day in Cochin, the capital of King Bali, on the day of Onam, when lakhs of people build a statue of King Bali and go around in a procession with full band, orchestra, and songs. Till today, there has been no death in kingdom on this day, nor has any untoward incident taken place. Once King Rigbuddha asked his Kulguru Sri Shraddhanand Maharaj, O Gurudev, who am I? What is my kingdom? Gurudev replied, I also placed these questions once upon a time to my Kulguru Sri Sakhanand. At the time, I too was a king like you. Gurudev had told me that all the land, property, house, wife, sons, daughters, belongings, treasury, etc. will remain here at the last moment. What to say of you? Even the greatest world conquerors have gone empty-handed. On hearing these words of Gurudev, my heart melted and eyes shed tears. I had taken my crown then and there and placed it at the feet of Gurudev. Hearing these words of Gurudev, King Rigbuddha also followed this example. After this, the king and the queen left for some unknown place in the forest for tapasya. After him, his son Himanchal succeeded to the throne.